trouble, front straightaway. Hard in the wall goes Hamlin. Chase Elliott.
Hard impact for Denny Hamlin.
That was a savage crash right at the start-finish line.
The inside of Chase. Gets loose. You see him lift out of the gas. The flames crowded Chase, got into him. But they saw some retaliation there.
Or did Keselowski get into the left rear corner of Elliott there?
I got right rear hooked in the middle straight away.
Did you think there was any kind of retaliation there, or what was the deal? What led to that?
Yeah, it's a tantrum, and he shouldn't be racing next week. Right rear hooks are absolutely unacceptable. I don't care. It's same thing Bubba Wallace did with Kyle Larson. The exact same. He shouldn't be racing. It's a tantrum.
Never in my life did I ever think I'd see robot sandpaper personality Chase Elliott do instant chicken on Denny Hamlin. This is one of the worst moves I've ever seen Chase Elliott pull on the racetrack. He's pulled a lot of stupid moves on the racetrack, but this is by far the highest and most stupidest move he's ever done. This, in my opinion, was the darkest time in Kyle Busch's career. Kyle Busch was always racing the Truck Series and the NASCAR Nationwide Series at the time. Nobody liked him for it, and to make matters worse, he would get involved in the championship contention of Ron Hornaday. He would crash out Hornaday early during the Texas race with only a couple races left to go in the season. This ultimately ended Hornaday's chance at winning the championship. This was horrible.
Busch here. Ooh, close. Wide into turn 4. That moves Kyle Busch all the way up the racetrack. He has to catch it before he gets to the wall. And Hornaday catches the wall.
Caution's out, caution's out.
Caution is going to come out. Both drivers trying to get by. Looked like the 17 of Timothy Peters. They slid up the racetrack, and now Kyle Busch not happy at all.
It's all good, dude.
And Kyle Busch is going to turn the 33 into the wall. Championship contender Hornaday in the wall.
Well, Kyle Busch should be parked for this race and maybe the rest of the season for that.
Holy cow, I can't believe he did
Championship
that.
contender Ron Hornaday hard into the wall. Kyle Busch sends him in.
You all right?
You know, we saw him playing games like that at Martinsville, but we're running over 180 miles an hour here.
Window net down on the 33 of Hornaday.
Race car is able to 22 to catch him.
Here comes the 22. He's closed the gap all over the back bumper now as they've caught the slower traffic. And around goes the 20, sideways in front of the 22. Kenseth slides. Caution comes out. And Kenseth cleared by Logano. Maybe no. Kenseth takes him out. Logano into the wall. Caution comes out and the crowd roars. This is what just took place.
And clearly, the 22 is lapping the 20, and 20 obviously intentionally wrecked him. And like what happened the week before was more than 2 weeks before was more than it should have been. And
Matt Kenseth already not having the day that he wanted to have. And the opportunity presented itself.
Treat others the way you want to be treated. This is exactly what happened during the 2015 chase. Matt Kenseth and Joey Logano were two fierce competitors on the track. It all boiled over at Kansas when Logano drove it in, hit Kenseth, and ultimately ended his championship run that day. 2 weeks later at Martinsville, Kenseth had had enough of Logano's dominance and his arrogance on the racetrack. He drove into turn number 1, wrecked and laps down, wiping out Joey Logano and his championship hopes.
Chastain up the racetrack. Here comes the 11.
they lean on each other a little bit. Chastain.
Oh! Hard into the wall. He goes around. He'll hit the inside wall as well.
Remember, he was a car on the bottom, and he just ran Chastain up the racetrack, and then trouble ensued behind him.
Christopher Bell hits the wall as well. We see that in the top corner of the screen, the 20 car.
Yeah, Hamlin, you might want to know, is that retaliation? That's just Hamlin saying, look, I'm not giving you any room. You haven't given me any room. This is a race for the win. If whatever happens, happens. I'm going to go up the racetrack. He didn't intentionally wreck him, but he sure ran him out of the groove.
Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain were the big rivalry of 2022. In one of the most blatant retaliations and most disgusting ways I've ever seen Denny Hamlin win a race is when he overdrove turn number 2, claimed he didn't touch Ross Chastain, and threw him in the wall. Chastain would end up crashed and ultimately taken out of contention to win at Pocono.
Coming to the white flag, there's a leader
change, and Labonte takes the lead.
And meanwhile, Ricky Rudd trying to...
Oh, and Earnhardt spins him out. Oh, man. And Tony Stewart is involved in the crash, as is Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin, and several others. Dale Earnhardt takes the checkered flag.
And Jimmy Spencer ran second.
Which is a good way of trying to break the line of the fellow behind you. Here's Waltrip, keeps him straight, but he keeps on tapping. Now Waltrip on the inside. Side by side. Down to the inside.
Oh!
4 cars, there it goes.
There's Bo 9 into the fence. Joe Rudman spins around. Who's going to win the race? Where's Kyle Petty? Darrell Waltrip's alongside of him.
There's the hook. Bang.
Earnhardt came down, caught the right rear of Darrell's car. There's Darrell Waltrip's Chevrolet, and it is torn up.
Gone away.
It's stalled on the back straightaway. It can't go any farther.
The man in black, the intimidator, whatever you want to call him, Dale Sr. is definitely well liked by fans. But back when he was at the top of his game in his career, he definitely got a lot of boos. These 2 instances right here show why he got boos. Taking out Texas' Terry Labonte for the win at Bristol, and right-hooking Darrell Waltrip at Richmond, and he actually ended up breaking Waltrip's ribs in this horrific accident, and he didn't even pick up the win at Richmond. Besides these 2 times though, I can't think of another time Dale Sr. really did take out somebody for the win. He's always known for his aggressive driving, and that is so. But to think that he took out somebody for the win every week is just something not true.
And there's just not enough space for everyone. The 88 goes in, and this is where the trouble starts. He forces the 3 up. The 3 makes contact with the 24. That is the damage for the left rear of the 24. And then when you get to the other end of the racetrack, I think Austin Dillon says, listen, you may be in the playoffs, and I'm not, but you're just not going to run me over. He sends the 88 up the racetrack.
That was an aggressive move into turn 1 by Bowman.
And look at the guy in the bottom, that bright yellow 22. We're hearing from NASCAR. Free pass, Joey Logano.
Austin Dillon and Richmond sure don't mix. He took out Alex Bowman when Alex Bowman got into him entering turn number 1. He ended up driving it into turn number 3. Sounds really familiar. Anyway, and he just wrecked Alex Bowman. Yeah, that's pretty. That's a cheap shot.
Like there's some contact.
Oh, the 24 of Byron.
Remember what happened off of turn 2.
Well, needless to say, Chris Gabehart is livid down here. They're trying to get their position back. Denny Hamlin, even more mad than Chris Gabehart. Listen.
I don't know. I haven't seen a replay of it, but good grief. If he's mad about what happened off of 2, you got tight underneath of him, lifted on.
All right, so Denny Hamlin clearly is upset. This has been going on all the way down the back straightaway, banging into each other. Denny is not happy.
Well, now he has to be careful because he knows that all eyes are on him.
William Byron sends Denny Hamlin spinning in the grass in 2022 at Texas. Hamlin and Byron were racing hard during the green flag racing to end a stage, and Byron didn't like it. Under the caution flag, he drove up behind Hamlin and ended up hitting him in the rear, spinning him out, making him lose multiple positions on the racetrack. This is one of the most dirtiest moves I've ever seen somebody do under caution.
Contact Gordon and Keselowski.
We were sitting there on a little bit older tires. I spun the tires a little bit, but I got a pretty decent start. And we went down into 1, and I just wanted to get the outside of the 48, and out of nowhere, I just got slammed with the 2, and it cut my left rear tire. And he's just a dipshit, the way he races, I don't know how he's ever won a championship, and I'm just sick and tired. That's why everybody's fighting him and running him down, and your emotions are high. That was a huge, huge race for us. We had the car, we had the position. So proud of my team, and I'm proud of Jimmy Johnson for winning that race, not letting that, win that race. Oh my God!
The conflict with Brad on pit road. You came out, you pulled on the pit road to talk to him. Tell us about what the conversation was and what happened.
there wasn't any conversation. You can't have a conversation with him. I mean, he beats his own drum, gets himself in this position himself, and he's got to pay the consequences. And, I'm going to race him the same way he races me, but that kind of stuff's just uncalled for, and I'm not going to stand for it.
Jeff Gordon and Brad Keselowski definitely started a rivalry, and a rivalry that may have only lasted for one race, but it will be a race that will infamously go down as one of the most iconic NASCAR races at Texas. Brad Keselowski shoots the gap in the middle between Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon, dooring Jeff Gordon up the racetrack. Gordon would later cut a tire and spin out. This ultimately costed Jeff Gordon a chance at the 2014 championship, and most likely the championship. He was very competitive that year and had the dominant car at Homestead. He was so mad after the race, he went down to Brad Keselowski to explain why he was upset. Keselowski was having none of it, and Jeff Gordon started a fight.
And it seems to be working.
Jeff Gordon won at Sonoma 2 weeks ago, then was caught up in a late race crash at Daytona last week. That crash cost him critical points, knocked him out of the top 10, but right now he's on the bumper of the leader. Oh! Kenseth goes around off the front end of Gordon. And automatically you think of what happened at Bristol between the 17 and the 24 that resulted in that shoving incident on pit road after the race.
I'd take a look at that again. I think that Kenseth probably got a little bit loose going in there because Gordon was so close.
Be a penalty if NASCAR
goes around Matt Kenseth. Then Kenseth racing hard with Gordon, got into his bumper. Busch, who won, and went over to apologize to Jeff Gordon. Matt admitted he probably should have waited in the heat of the battle for that to settle down. Now let's take a look at what just happened here. And keep in mind, this could send us to overtime, and fuel could be a factor.
The 17 slowed down for some reason right there. I mean, whether he got loose or whatever, I'm not saying that it was Matt's fault that he got spun out, but it did look like his car slowed down. Right there.
We heard Kenseth tell his crew on the radio that, what did he say, if NASCAR is consistent, they will black flag the 24. Is that not what he said?
Yes, and remember that Jeff Gordon is on probation.
But Jeff Gordon isn't always on the receiving end of a chicken move. Jeff Gordon actually got into Matt Kenseth at Chicagoland in 2006 and sent him spinning for the lead. This was definitely a horrible move by Jeff Gordon, and it was so obvious he did this on purpose.
Boy, this
He
is going
needs
to
to
take
move to the top lane.
Going to have to be quick. Going to have to be quick.
Almirola up to cover. Dillon, where will
Dillon's
he go?
gonna get there.
Oh, into Almirola. Around he goes.
Good.
And here it comes with the number 3, 20 years ago. 20 years of trying for Earnhardt. He won the Daytona 500. Austin Dillon wins the 60th running of the Great American Race.
Final lap in overtime and led only 2 laps in his first win, averaging 17th today. This is where he pushes Almirola, taps him from the back out of the way. You heard him reference in his post-race comments. Clean or not?
Well, Chris. Austin Dillon wrecks Eric Almirola to win the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. In one of the most dirtiest moves possible I've ever seen somebody win the Great American Race, Austin Dillon definitely takes the cake. Down the backstretch, he has a run on Almirola, and instead of trying to pass him, he just hooks him and spins him out into the wall. Austin Dillon would pick up the win in the 3 car and ultimately pick up another controversial win.
Squeezed up into the wall.
And Mike obviously had no idea he was on the outside of it.
That's a wild ride.
Boy, that is unbelievable.
Yeah, he just got squeezed in there, and I mean, did they turn that car inside? Through the fence, or up along the fence. I don't know how did that thing get run all over. He just wanted to get through, you know, earlier before the race. He just wanted to get through this night.
Yep.
he was worried about it. I think he's not real happy with the driver of a 38 car.
Short tracks, all about talent and temper. This will get him a visit to talk with some of the NASCAR Busch officials after the race.
Well, we're sure going to probably feel pretty good to throw that helmet. Well, I didn't throw the helmet, but
Austin Dillon and controversial wins go hand in hand, right? So let's keep going. He ends up taking out Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin during the 2024 Richmond race. Austin Dillon crashes both of them to pick up the victory to lock himself in the playoffs until NASCAR ends up revoking his playoff eligibility just a couple days later.
He can't do it in 1 and 2. Logano looks back. He has a car length now. Joey Logano through 3 and 4 for the final time. There's the contact. He does get to him. The 11 on the inside. He gets into the wall. Dillon's going to win it at the line.
Austin's season was on the line there, but what are your thoughts on what happened down there?
It's chicken shit. There's no doubt about it. He's 4 car lengths back. Not even close. Then he wrecks the 11 to go along with it. And then he's going to go up there and thank God and praise everything with his baby. It's a bunch of BS. It's not even freaking close. I mean, dude, I get it, bump and run. I get it. I didn't back up the corner at all. He came in there and just drove through me. It's ridiculous that's the way we race. Unbelievable. I get bump and runs. I do that. I would expect it. But from 4 car lengths back, he was never going to make the corner. And then he wrecks the other car. He wrecks the 11 to go with it. So
he's turning Clint Boyer into the wall, collecting Joey Logano. Caution flag is out. Almirola slides in. Did the leader take the white flag before the caution came out?
Slip into the garage, straight right. Fire's gone, fire's gone.
That's a year's worth of frustration. Oh, conflict. The crews are in it. And somewhere in the middle of that is Jeff Gordon. Clint Boyer wants his opportunity at this. Can't really blame him.
That's stupid.